introduce yourself and start at the beginning? What year it was that you got into veganism, and then
Yeah.
what happened?
Okay. Start now. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. Hi. I'm from. My name's Stephen. I'm from Australia and New South Wales. I grew up in Sydney, and that's where I'm not there now, but that's where I started on the vegan diet. That was 1997.
Hmm.
I was 20. I was 21 years ago, so 22 years ago. So I was 25 years old, and someone told me to go vegan, and he had no education or authority, I guess, to say that that was the best way to go or that was the best diet. But that's what he said it was. It was the best thing to do, and I instantly did it. I'm a little bit of an extremist, and I thought, okay, I'll do that. And at the time, I didn't have any health problems. I grew up in a European family and a Croatian family, and so we ate a what you'd call a nourishing traditions kind of diet, which people have been eating for a long time. And I had no health problems. I'm 6'3". I was about 100 kilos. I used to train weights, so I was like really skinny here and had big shoulders. And when I went on the vegan diet, I went down to 66 kilos.
Hmm.
Lost about a third of my body weight. Felt like almost overnight, it just disappeared, melted off me. And because you just can't sustain any muscle mass on that diet because you're not eating any protein. And at the time I said, it's just detoxing, and all that muscle I had was just like built on rubbish animal products. Yeah, right. You start telling yourself all these lies immediately. And it was really dangerous because I started to get really sick immediately. And because when you lose a lot of that body weight, you also a lot of toxins, I think, were coming out of my body because like that was stored in maybe the muscle and the fat and things like that. And I had a naturopath friend, and the naturopath friend said, quick, get some eggs or butter, or don't just go 100% vegan after, because your body just doesn't know what to do. And like it'd ever know what to do. It never would. And I should have, that was the first warning sign, from this naturopath lady. She was really concerned about me. She saw how much weight I had lost because she was a friend. And but I just thought I knew better, or I thought all these people saying the vegan diet's really good and that animal products are really bad or toxic or evil or whatever reason, that they must be right. And but later on I learned in Merck's manual, or MIMS we have in Australia and America, it's Merck's, they say if you lose a third of your body weight, you could die. That's really dangerous. But yeah, that happens all the time to a lot of people. I see that a lot of people on the vegan diet, they either go really skinny or, just all the carbs, they go really fat on their constitution. So, yeah, like I wasn't living at home, but every time I visited my mum, she was really concerned because she saw how much weight I'd lost. And, I'm saying I'm really healthy, whereas she was going, look at yourself. Like, don't you remember how you used to look? And, I had a friend at the time. A lot of friends were really concerned about me because I was going, yeah, vegan power. And they were going, vegan power? Look at you. And like, you're just skin and bones. Like, I used to ride a bike as well, like everywhere. I actually got rid of my car at that time. I thought, I'm just going to ride my bike everywhere, like literally anywhere I had to go. And I had really big legs. And this one friend, he was a bodybuilder. And everyone thought he was on steroids, but he didn't even take protein powder. He was just huge, just naturally had a really strong constitution. And everyone at the gym, like you touch him, he was like concrete, And he would say to me, even his legs at that time when we were bodybuilding, like an upper body, I couldn't match him at all. But he was like, don't you remember? Because my legs were really big back then. And he was going, look at your legs. It's like, don't you remember what you used to be like? What are you talking about? Like, you're just skin and bones. And like those kind of things really hit home to me hard. I was like, and I listened to it. I was like, nah, I'm on a new health program now. I'm clean. And I another time I went with the same friend. We went spearfishing because when we were younger, teenage kids growing up, we used to go spearfishing a lot to catch fish. And this time I went with him, but I would just snorkel because obviously I was vegan, so I'm not going to hit the fish. and they caught fish, and a couple of other friends that we grew up with were there at that time, and we're having a barbecue, and actually one of the other friends brought extra sausages just in case, we didn't catch enough fish, so heaps of meat. And here am I, I'm having like a white bread roll with tomato sauce and some tomatoes. And they were having fish in there, like really nice. And they were looking at me and thinking, Stephen, man. Like, I remember one of my mates said, poor bastard, And at the time I thought, it's true. Look at me, like I'm skin and bones. I'm just depriving myself. But like something happens. It's like this, I can't explain it. You just think, and now I see it in other people. They could be falling apart, they could be almost dead, but they'll say, "I'm healthy, I'm vegan." Like the reality of what's going on in your life, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you're vegan, you're healthy. It doesn't matter how unhealthy you could be dead. I often say that to people now that I'm not vegan. Like, I'll look at someone and the vegan person will go, "Oh, this person's really healthy. Look at this picture of health," and I'll go, "This person's dead." Like they're dead or they're inches away from death. And the vegan will look at that person and go, "Oh, they're the picture of health." It's like your Eclipse epitome of malnourishment. Like, these are serious vegans. This is what happens to you on the vegan diet. It's not healthy, yet they're promoting health. It's weird. I can't explain it. And when you're in it, it's kind of like hard to get out of it. I was just skinny, starving, just like couldn't move. Couldn't do anything. I was just searching for answers. So like, you obviously get into supplements, So I got into barley grass, and I was having 3 tablespoons 3 times a day, and it give you a bit of an energy for a while, but I just became very, if I didn't have like beans, like chickpeas and hummus, when I had that, I had a bit of protein. I got a little bit of energy. Without that, I would just start to fall over.
How long did it take you to get so skinny? What year was this when your friends were telling you this?
Well, immediately. So 1997, I felt like it happened in a couple of weeks. It probably happened over a couple of months, but it just kind of like just melted off me like a hot knife through butter. I just went down to I was just skin and bones. People thought I'd become a Hare Krishna, or anyone that knew me in the past and knew me now, they were like, "What's wrong with you?" And here I was going, yeah, I'm vegan. Is it really healthy? You guys don't understand. Really, it was me that didn't understand, And they were like, a lot of people were really concerned. They were like, "You look crazy." People thought I was on drugs. People thought, it was bad. It was bad, But the thing is, because of my upbringing, I feel like I had B12 levels that in me. And the problem with the vegan diet is sometimes health problems happen straight away. But for some people, they take a few years, and these health problems that I was getting, I was really skinny, but I thought I was healthy and I was going to live forever on this vegan diet that, like Adam and Eve ate in the Garden of Eden, and that's what you got to eat, even though no one's ever done that in thousands of years. There's no evidence of anyone even attempting that in any community. It's just this new age idea that you could go to the tree of life, and just live forever. But that wasn't happening. I started to fall apart, literally. Still believing this lie, and the lies are everywhere. A lot of people believe these things. Like, fish is full of mercury, parasites, and acidic or toxins or whatever it is. It's just all rubbish. Like, I don't know anyone that's got dementia from eating fish. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to show people getting dementia from not having cholesterol and eating fish. And so, like, there's just so many lies that get put out in. This is what I found. Like, in different religious groups, you've got the Buddhists, Hindus, Hare Krishnas, Seventh-day Adventists, different Christian groups, going back to the 1800s. That's the modern era. But, you've got New Agers, you've even got naturopaths and health professionals, doctors. It's just a really trendy thing to do. And so you've got this constant voice telling you cholesterol is really bad, animal products are really toxic, and there's not really a voice saying something else at all. And so you're just thinking you're doing the right thing because it's just total brainwashing. There's nothing else to really. Put it to anyway. So my health started to go downhill. One of the major things that happened is I popped a disc in my back. I tore a disc in my back. So I started to get really bad joints, and this was one of the bad things that happened. I tore a disc in my back, and it healed up, but it didn't heal up properly, and I just kept re-tearing it because I was having no gelatin, collagen, no glucosamine to help rebuild that tissue. No vitamin A, no vitamin D, no K2 to help absorb all the vitamins and minerals. You just end up in negative balance and you start to break down. And the pain in my back one day, because I just kept aggravating. It was trying to heal. I bet if I had some bone broth soup, it would have healed up. If I was on just a normal, any average diet, it would have healed up. But it just, I'm just gonna, people texting me on my phone. Yeah. So this was a big thing that happened in my life when I tore this disc in my back, because it became so painful and I was so malnourished that I couldn't sleep at night. And this is horrific, the things you go through just because of this stupid diet. And can you imagine after a few nights of not sleeping at all, like the sun would come up the next day and I'd be like, wow, it was another night. I didn't sleep, I started to go crazy. I was in so much pain. And I tried everything, I thought it was my bed. I just got rid of my bed. I bought a brand new bed. I thought it was that. People told me to sleep on a board. I'd listen to anyone and anything, People were telling me all sorts of remedies and solutions, to the problem. But that was just the beginning of the nightmare, I just kept going. I actually had a neighbour at that time when I hurt my back, and his name was Mofate. He was from he was Samoan. So he was an islander. And he was big, and he was always eating meat, always eating heaps of animal products. And he says, you got to eat the real things, man. You got to eat the real things. It was the best advice you could give me. And I was like, nah, here I am, skinny, malnourished. Nah, you don't know anything. He's big and strong. And I go around his place all the time. He goes, the real things is the meats, man. You got to eat that. And he invited me over for a barbecue at his house one day. And I went over there. I thought, what am I going to eat? Vegan. So I went around there. And, they had all his friends over, and islander friends. And they had this barbecue spread with all these dishes, and there was all meats and fish and animal products everywhere. And I was looking for something I could eat because I was vegan. And I found this salad-y thing, and it had coconut cream in it. And so I said, I'll go have some of this. And there was some pieces of, I thought it was potato or tofu, like as if he's going to eat tofu. It was fish. It was raw fish. And I was eating it, and I was like, this is fish. Oh, no, I can't even eat that, And so, but this was like a big warning sign, because this is how people ate. They put animal products in everything, and every single one of those dishes had animal products. And here I was, a vegan, thinking I'm the one in the right. I've got a pop disc in my back and full of health problems, and I don't want to touch any of his food. He's healthy as. He's not even focusing on health. Health is not, even an issue. And later on I learned, this is how these cultures, what do you think these islanders, they've got these big heads and big bodies, like they come to Australia here and they play rugby league and rugby union, they dominate, they're just so strong and big and nourished. Why? Because they're vegan? No, because they've been eating like this for generations, So things went downhill, and what happened is I started to get sick in winter, every winter. So I had no vitamin A, vitamin D, which everyone knows you need for your immune system, and who knows what else I was missing. So I started to get sick in winter. I had to really rack up, and I started to get cold. And I started to try different versions of the vegan diet. So I was like just searching for answers. So I was going high protein, high fat. So high protein, I mean beans and legumes and nuts and seeds. And then I'd try high fat. And I'd be pouring Udo's oil, like different plant oils, and high fat, high carb, any combination you could think of, like just trying all these versions of all these gurus. They're saying this is what you've got to be on, and like sometimes you feel a bit better, sometimes you wouldn't. But at this stage, I met Harley, who is known as Durian Rider. He's a bit of an internet, but this is like back in the day where no one knew him. So this is like about 12, 15 years ago. He was at a health expo. And he said to me, just met him there, and he goes, oh, you got to go on the raw food diet. I go, what do you mean, raw food? He goes, yeah, I just eat raw food all the time. I go, well, how do you mean? What do you guys? I go, what'd you have for breakfast? He goes, oranges. And I just ate them and I left the oranges there on the side. I go, really? The next day, I go, I'm going to try it. I was willing to try anything. So I bought a box of organic grapes and dates and coconuts and all this stuff from the organic market. And I brought it. I was there at this festival, this organic festival, and he was there with all his mates. I started pinching all my food. I ended up like all these raw fooders, they need so much food that they just want to steal all your food. I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy all this organic food and you just take off with it because you're always hungry. So then I went on this raw food diet, which I felt better for a little bit because of all the enzymes you're getting more enzymes, I guess. But it didn't last long, and you're just hungry all the time on that diet. It's just low calories, just water, especially some of the watery foods, like I remember eating a box of lychees. I sat there from 7 o'clock at night till 9:30 at night eating lychees. I ate the whole 5 kilo box and I was still hungry after. I was like, oh, this, man. I had a couple of bananas, a few Brazil nuts. I went to sleep, Like, it's just a joke, And then, like, I'd just be like 30 bananas a day. I used to be on, like, a box of bananas a day. Like, just, like, I'd fill my whole garage, I just began getting seconds and, like, ones that are slightly off. And I think at one stage I bought 8 boxes of bananas in 8 days, so a box a day. And just, like, ridiculous. Oranges, like, there was an orange farmer near me. I was like, my whole garage was full. I've got photos of, like, you couldn't put the car in the garage. It's full of oranges, Just constantly, like, you'd have lunch, I'd have a salad, and you try to bulk it up with raw nuts, avocado, anything fatty, olives, something to fill you up. About an hour later, mate, you're flailing, you just got no energy. You got to get some sugar or something. You're just juicing oranges, litres and litres of orange juice, doing smoothies. I couldn't even put smoothies in a glass because I'd forget how many glasses I'd having. So I bought like I should show you. I still got a vase, a flower vase. It was like about this tall, and you just fill it up, and it was like 2.5 litres, and then you'd know that once you had that, at least you'd be full. Like, it just became a joke, It's just ridiculous. And it was a 5-star diet. There was nuts in there, and I was doing it all, herbs, and like, you name it, it was in it. I tried it all. I had friends come over. They used to call my place the like the Rialto Towers, because every time they'd come over, there'd be all this organic food happening. They go, this is like a 5-star diet, mate. If you can't do the vegan diet, no one can. If you don't do it, Stephen, 100% organic, spending $1 million. Imagine, like, when the banana crisis is on, when there's like a cyclone in North Queensland, banana prices went through the roof. You've got to eat something. It's the only thing that fills you up because it's high in calories. If you try to eat watermelons, it's just water. You just die wondering if you're ever going to get food. Yeah, we got married. We had all this vegan food at our wedding, all this fake food, fake meat. I remember that. Like, you throw up on that stuff. You might as well eat the real thing. Such a joke. Like that's the craziest thing about the vegan diet. You're craving for meat, so people eat fake meat, which is just like chemicals. Like, why don't you just eat, even if the meat's not organic and toxic, it couldn't be worse than that. That stuff's just like indigestion, Anyway, we moved in the country.
What year was this, by the way?
This is after I've been vegan already 9 years, 10 years, yeah. So, yeah, I've been in it for a long time.
It's crazy that you went on for it for so long, even though you had such a terrible beginning.
Crazy is the word, huh? It's hard to describe. Since then, and I'm going to tell you a bit of story about my kids, because this is, like, horrifying. But, yeah, there's a site called Vegan Death and Injured Children, and it just lists, like, it's horrible. People not only look at someone dying and say they're healthy, people actually die. Another vegan friend of mine in Queensland here in Australia, same age as me, died of a heart attack, vegan. Something he's trying to avoid. Vegans are dying from the very thing they're trying to avoid: cancer, heart attack, high cholesterol. Just craziness, they're trying to avoid all these things. They end up dying from it, from half the average age of what you should be living, or less. Like, it's just craziness, So it's just, crazy, exactly what you said. I can't explain. What I tried to do is just keep powering through it. Like, once I found this raw food thing, I started to have a little bit more energy from it. At that time, I thought this might be the answer. So I started to do green smoothies, Victoria Botenka, Green for Life, and they're just trying all these different things, and Yeah, nothing was working. At this time, we actually moved into the country. We thought, oh, we've got to get more organic food and live in the country, be self-sufficient. And we lived in a place that was up in the hills, and in winter, it got freezing cold. It got to -9, which maybe in Europe and different places is nothing. But in Australia, that's really cold because, Australia is just like the desert and it's really hot most of the time. -9 is like record-breaking. And, I was on this raw food diet, living up in the hills, in the mountains. Just it didn't matter how much clothes you put on. In the middle of the day in the sun, you'd just be freezing cold, like just internal temperature. It was just like so wrong. And this time I really started to fall apart. I heaps of health problems. I'm just going to go through the basics. I tore, the first thing I tore was my meniscus in my knee. They said, you've got to do surgery, it wouldn't heal up. I said, no, I was determined. I started doing hot and cold hydrotherapy, sometimes every hour of the day. I was just doing all these herbs, comfrey, and you name it. I was doing it. You think I could heal it? And I'm hobbling around like this in this torn meniscus. Then I tore the labrum in my right shoulder. And, I went to see the head physio in the town where I live. And he said to me, surgery. And I said, does it ever heal up? He goes, sometimes. And I go, but I keep re-tearing it because every time I go to lift or push something, it just re-tears. He goes, forget it. If you keep just inflaming it. So here I got this torn disc in my back. I'm in agony. I've got this torn meniscus in my knee. I'm hobbling. Now I've got this torn labrum in my shoulder. And I remember at the time, Dwight Howard is a basketball player. I just remember reading an article because he was playing for the LA Lakers, and there was a doctor called Catherine Shanahan who wrote a book called Deep Nutrition. And I read her book. She talks about the same thing, people falling apart from joint problems, and then they ate a more nourishing diet. Anyway, this Dwight Howard guy, he did the same thing. Surgery, went straight to surgery. And I thought, there's no option for surgery. Health problems kept happening. The biggest health problem, this is where I almost lost my life. Okay, there was getting to a point here where I was so malnourished. I went to Fiji with some friends, and they said to me, Stephen, whatever you do, don't cut yourself in the water because there's bacteria in the water, tropical waters and stuff like that. So we were visiting, like off the mainland, you've got Manor Island, which is one of the big islands, and we went to visit some other islands after that because they had a boat over there. And so when you went on into one of these islands, when you went into the bay, it was low tide, and we couldn't just leave the boat out there. You had to pull it to shore. So we're bare feet on coral dragging this boat into shore. You imagine if you're going to cut your feet, all cut up. Anyway, I started to bubble up in these what they call tropical ulcers. And my friend that was with me, he was vegan too. He started to get them. And he goes, you always get it over here. And I was like, what is this? Anyway, they started to, I should show you pictures. This is like unbelievable. The people in the island suffer from this, but they're kind of used to it because they're a little bit immune to it, and plus they eat animal products. But I started to put tea tree oil on it while I was over there, and different herbs and things like that to keep it under bay, but it started to get bigger. It started to, one of them was on my ankle near where I cut myself. And then I came back to Australia, and I thought, I'm going to hit this hard, So I started to put, you name it, once again, all the herbs in the world. Didn't touch it, and they started to bubble up around my body, like on my arm here. I've still got a scar, and they started to bubble up. They looked like Jupiter with blood and purple going through it. And I'd be pouring, like, I thought, I'm going to, like the next day I'd wake up, it'd be worse, and just be popping up. I thought, what is this thing? So I started to pour fresh garlic juice on it constantly, like every hour, every 10 minutes. I was like, I'm going to kill this. And the next thing happens, it pops up next door. So it says, we won't come up there. We'll just come up right beside it. And I was like, I literally almost died. This one day, one of these ones on my arm one of these veins started to go. It was like septicemia. It was like blood poisoning. Got red. It went up my shoulder, up toward my neck. You could see this red vein. And I started to hallucinate. I started to become delusional. I started to fall over in the middle of the day. I'm dying, man. I went to the doctor. I'm a little bit against doctors, like they just want to drug you up. So I went to the doctor, and he saved my life, man, I have to say. Like, drugs, I'm against drugs. Antibiotics instantly went down. These aggressive things instantly. And so when the point is, when you're on the vegan diet, your immune system's so low that you're likely to catch anything at any time and die from anything, And you need drugs. If drugs aren't there, a lot of people in the islands, they don't get access to drugs. They die. They die from this. And I would have died if I didn't have access to drugs. So that was a big turning point. After that, I was like, no more is a vegan diet. You know, it's like killing me. So at that time, I started to get dental. So I started to eat meat. Is what happened. But I was nervous. I thought, oh, if I even say the word animal product, I'm going to die. I'm going to go to hell. Animal products are so toxic, poisonous.
Was this around 2012?
This is going about, so I've been eating meat now for 6 years. So this is going back
Right, but you
about,
started with the meat around
this is
2012.
about 2012, yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
correct. Just before, around that time, yeah, correct. It was a bit of a transitional thing because I was really nervous getting into meat because I've been vegan for so long and thought it was evil, bad, blah, blah, all that stuff. I thought, and the first time I ate meat, I was like eating it going, am I going to get struck by lightning? Am I just going to die or something? There's this guilt factor that goes along with it. I can't explain it, you know? And that's why people are fearful of meat. You know, they'd rather die than eat meat, you know, and that's what happens. But I also started to get dental problems and my teeth started to hurt really bad. So the enamel just wore away. I went to see the dentist. He said, it'll never grow back. It'll never come back. And I actually ended up with a cracked tooth. So my teeth were cracking. Here I was thinking I'm on the healthiest diet ever. And I've got a cracked tooth, fairly young. And this was excruciating pain. I cannot explain how painful this, it's insane the amount of pain. Yeah, I went to see the doctor. He says you've got a cracked tooth. I was like, how does this happen? So I stumbled across the book Cure Tooth Decay by Ramil Nagel. And I just downloaded it, you know, immediately. And I was like, what? Everything he's saying is the most unhealthiest thing to do. Eating meat, butter, like this is crazy. How could something so unhealthy actually be good for you? And I thought maybe it's just going to heal your teeth and just rot the rest of your body. Like, what a stupid idea, you know? Like, if it's good for your teeth, something's got to be good for the rest of your body. And I immediately got a block of butter and started rubbing it on my tooth, the cracked tooth, and the pain subsided just from rubbing butter on my tooth. And I had access to raw milk. I immediately started drinking raw milk and started following all the principles in the book. And immediately my teeth started to feel better, get better. And I was like, wow. So here I'm drinking, you know, like, which is like the cardinal sin. Raw milk, raw butter, you know, eating meat, yogurt, started to have yogurt, eggs, I'm having organic eggs, and, you know, fermented animal products as well, like yogurt, it's a big one as well. Tried to go organic all the time. I started to feel better, get better, stronger. And one by one, my problems started to go away. You know, the teeth started to heal up without even thinking about it. The labrum in my shoulder that was torn, I had for years, healed up by itself. No hot and cold, no nothing. Just eating animal products. My meniscus in my knee that I had done hot and cold hydrotherapy for like ages, non-stop. All the herbs in the world couldn't heal it. Wasn't even thinking about it. Healed up. No pain. Like 100%. It's like brand new. Just healed up. All my health problems went away practically, like overnight without even thinking about it. I was like, this is crazy, you know. But at the same time, so this is all about my story. And in this meantime, I didn't mention my kids. So should I briefly go over that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had 4 children. Yeah, I got 4 children. And first child we had, he's 10 now. So we were married for 2 years and had one boy. And the pregnancy wasn't the best, but my wife never had breast milk. But every time because my wife hasn't always been religiously vegan like I was. I was like straight down the line. Whereas when she went to my mum's house, you know, there was creamy baked potatoes, you know, with cream and cheese on top. She would eat that. All of a sudden she'd have breast milk. It'd come back. Like, these are big warning signs. Then when we go back home on the vegan diet, like, my poor baby was crying for food because there wasn't enough nutrition in the milk, you know. So we'd give him coconut water. Just craziness, you know, just like trying to search for answers. And he's got a few health problems, but they're starting to sort out now. So he was 5. He's been on, you know, like a nourishing traditions diet, you know, all the good stuff, and he's bounced back. So a lot of his health problems are disappearing. Thank God. The second child, he probably copped it the worst. He's 8 now, 7, 8. He did it for about 2-3 years, the vegan diet. Yeah, you know, like at night he was crying for nutrition. We had to make smoothies and feed it to him every night or two because he couldn't sleep through the night. And he's got a few health issues, immune problems now. But he's starting to sort through it. He's getting a lot better, a lot stronger, you know. The third child, so, you know, she's been vegan or severely restricted animal product consumption to the point of having none. You might as well call it vegan. She wasn't 100% vegan. You know, she'd have some bread with butter sometimes, but you might as well call it nothing because it's just not enough. You know? And this child, third child, after 6 months, started to lie lifeless. Couldn't move. The back of her head went bald. Back of his head went bald. No hair, just from lying down. Would suck once or twice on the breast and then go back to sleep, just like dying. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. You know, we were like, what's going on? Took him to the doctors. Go to the doctor. Went to the first doctor. Doctor goes, is your kid vaccinated? We go, no. And he goes, I don't want to know it. Don't want to see your baby. Take him away. Can you imagine? Like, where's the duty of care? You know, go to the doctor. They should care. So, like, and by the way, we're living in the country. We live an hour away from the doctor, an hour out of town. So we've got to travel 1 hour one way. The doctor tells you where to go. We've got to go back home. Like, it's a big deal, you know? So, like, this child started to go downhill bad. And we took him to another doctor. Another doctor goes, oh, maybe we'll get a blood test. Didn't know. Went to get the blood test, started pricking him all over his body, everywhere, his feet. The blood would not come out of him. Like, they'd prick him and just, you barely see red. That's how poor blood flow this poor 6-month-old baby had. And I was like, this is bad. This is bad. We didn't know what was going on, you know, because we had just at this stage, just the last few months, started to get into animal products. We weren't fully into it. We're still eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and, you know, just barely eating animal products. But anyway, he started to, at night, not be able to breathe. And he just break out, you know, trying to breathe. He couldn't breathe, you know. I was like, this baby dying, man. We're going to see these doctors. No one wants to help. No one cares. No one knows. So he was going white, pale, like yellowy white, and crying. He'd wake up in the middle of the night, couldn't breathe, and just crying. And we didn't know what was going on, you know. So we rushed him. This is actually, we were moving out of our property, moving to another property. On the day of the move, that morning, like, you know, it was still dark, 4 o'clock in the morning, we rushed him 1 hour to the nearest hospital, to emergency. And immediately the whole hospital, it seemed like every doctor, every nurse from everywhere just rushed in to our baby. And we just stood back, you know, we were just like, they just pushed us out of the way. No one said nothing to us. And I remember this, you know, I remember the anaesthetist, or the one that, you know, was they were trying to give him a blood transfusion because they could see he was on the brink of dying. And they couldn't get blood. They couldn't get a vein because they were all just sunk. There was nothing happening. And luckily they got this. They were trying everywhere, all over his body, and they got one up here in his jugular. Thank God for this nurse. And they got it in there, and they gave him a blood transfusion. Immediately he started to get colour in his face. We saw it straight away, and I thought, we've saved him, you know, from this blood transfusion. And they didn't know it, they didn't see, but we knew, because we knew our baby. And thank God this blood wasn't from the vegan. If this blood was vegan blood, like, forget it. Like, you know, like, thank God the world is not vegan, you know. Mm-hmm. There's actually non-vegan blood givers out there. And they did all this other stuff. They do this intravenous food, which you know, that powdery food, which I think that was vegan. Like, it didn't matter. Once you got that blood transfusion, it bounced back. And he started to bounce back because I started to, my wife stayed in the hospital with the baby, and I was bringing her like turkey sandwiches and blah, blah, like feeding her, forget about hospital food, you know. And so her milk started to get better. And after that, the baby started to bounce back. And now he's actually really strong. He's the strongest out of the 3 boys because we started to, because he was on the vegan diet the least period of time. He was only on it for 6 months. With the others were on it for longer, so they suffered more. And since then, we've had a girl. So that boy is now 5. Since then, we had a girl. My wife was able to be on the Nourishing Traditions diet for 2 years before she conceived this baby. And this baby, no problem, super healthy. She's a girl. She's 3.5. So advanced, stronger, bigger. Like, she's almost overtaking some of these boys, you know. She does gymnastics. She's three years old. They keep wanting to put her in the 5-year-old age group because she's so advanced and so strong. Like, the proof is in the pudding, you know, like, and I just see it time and time again, you know, all these vegan children, vegan parents, you know, or third, fourth generation people that are on this vegan, vegetarian diet, and the kids are just malnourished. Like Dr. Weston Price shows in his book, Nutritional and Physical Degeneration, they're just stunted, you know, small heads, small jaw structure, crowding of the teeth, just what he called lack of full genetic expression.
Right. This may be a bit too private, but did you have any problems to conceive? Because a lot of vegans have fertility issues.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. No, we didn't. So maybe it would have been better off if we did. But a lot do, absolutely. I see it every day. They can't conceive, or if they do, it's miscarriages because the women don't have enough to carry the baby through to full term. So
Yeah, you're lucky.
definitely population control. And you know, it goes back to, like I said, my cultures, you know, like, so my parents, what they did and how I got brought up, and also my wife's parents, they were from South America, south of Chile. And her mum, I lived with her grandmother. She lived to over 100. And she said that she used to eat lamb 3 times a day. You know, they were self-sufficient, and she was strong, you know. She had no health problems. I saw her fall down 3 flights of stairs at like 99, bounce back up like nothing, you know, just really strong constitution. And so you got to look at that. You got to look at, you know, am I saying if you eat, you know, this sort of diet, will you live to 100? No, but she did. Whereas today, you know, vegans are just dropping dead at, like, I can guarantee, if you don't want to live to 100 years old, go on a vegan diet. I'm not a betting person, I don't gamble, but I can guarantee you'll not get to 100. You're like, there's just no way.
That leads me to my next question. How do you see the future of veganism altogether?
Yeah. So it's very popular today, you know, it's very trending. You know, I call the vegan diet a satanic new age deception from hell. It's from Satan because he just wants to destroy people. It's new age because you don't see it anywhere in the old age. It's new, and it's a deception. And so people are deceived because it sounds good. And so there's a big push for it. I believe that, you know, and because that deception is so great, and now, you know, it's Agenda 21, you've got you know, got all these agencies pushing for it. Like it's hard. The good thing is, it's very hard to be on a vegan diet. I did it hardcore, and, you know, like when I went out with friends to a restaurant, it was very hard to order food. You know, when you go to a bakery, you know, I went to this Lebanese bakery, and the cakes were vegan, but they were cooked on butter on a tray. I couldn't eat that. You know, I said, once I found that out, I was like, no, I can't have it. And so when you're vegan, you know, and you go to those extremes, which is very hard to do. Most people, I went out to dinner actually with this health leader in Australia. And he goes, Stephen, I'm on the vegan diet, rah. And I go, yeah, good on you. You know. And then he goes, we went out to dinner. We went out to his favourite restaurant. It was a vegetarian restaurant. And he's eating the cakes, the puff pastry things, and they've got cheese in them and butter and, you know, eggs and all that. And I was like, you've been on the vegan diet for how long? 6 months? You couldn't be vegan for 6 hours with me. You went to the restaurant. So there's a lot of people that say they're vegan, but to actually do the vegan diet, and I think that's the saving grace of a lot of people. You know, people just getting animal products in, you know, it's because it's very easy to say it. It's another thing to do it. So the future's not looking good if people go on it because it's so deceptive, and then the health falls apart, and people just don't do anything about it. They don't take a step back and have a look at their life. And if people just cut out everything, all the information they're getting from everywhere, and just listen to their own body, like, it'd fall in a heap. That'd be the future of veganism, but people don't. You know, they listen to other people.
Anything else you would like to add? Anything important or something special you would like to say to any vegans who are watching?
No, just that, you know, just the main part is, you know, if you're a part of a religious group or you're part of a social group, you know, like, a lot of people are afraid to come out with it because they think it's holy or they think it's really healthy. And the main problem is if you build up a persona of who you are and you're never able to admit you're wrong, you know, like I'm able to admit I'm wrong, and the proof is in the pudding. And the thing is, you know, it's like people on a plant-based or vegan diet seem to come up with points, and they just stick to this one point, or they just stick to this one guru, or this one, a lot of people say that to me, oh, have you seen this guy talk? Have you seen this clip? Have you seen this evidence? Have you seen this doctor? Have you seen this institution or study and all that? And the only real evidence is generational evidence. And for generations now, for thousands of years, people have been eating animal products. And so, like I spoke about my grandmother, and everywhere you go, you won't find anyone even attempting a vegan diet. It's just craziness, because they'll just die, they'll just fall apart. And the objective of humans is to procreate, is to keep going. And so if they find out that they're not procreating, or kids are dying, they would say this is really bad. But today people are living such an unnatural diet. They're living in cities. They're so far removed. We live in the country, and I had to kill one of my chickens the other day. Like, if you want to eat a chicken, that's what you've got to do. And people are horrified. The people with me like, oh, you're doing that? Well, that's what you've got to do. And so, people these days don't even want to touch meat, but they've got no problems eating it. And it's like, you just got to live in reality. So you got to step outside, the fake world that you're living in, and just have a deep look at all the points, because the amount of what I find now is a lot of these points that I thought were true, I'm finding they're just a lie. And unfortunately, these lies get told over and over and over again, and people just believe them because they just get told so many times. But the amount of points that you have to not be vegan and to eat animal products, obviously we're talking about good, clean, organic animal products. If you're eating processed anything, even animal products or food or, supplements, that's just really toxic. That's really bad. But the amount of points that this diet has, it's like you just could go forever. There's an answer for everything, and people need to listen to the whole story. A fool answers before he hears the conclusion of the matter. And a lot of people answer really quickly before they hear the whole package, before they hear. And I've watched a couple of your videos, and you just hit the nail on the head so many times. The New World Order diet, and, like the American Dietetics Association in the 1800s. When you see that it's actually, you're promoting a conspiracy. You're actually promoting the New World Order. A lot of people think they're talking against the New World Order when they're agents for the New World Order. It's like, it's crazy. Imagine that. Imagine a world where the deception is so great that people are just believing a lie and promoting the New World It was a big wake up call for me.
All right, man. Thank you.